Jag mods. Welcome to Jag Mods. First off, I want to thank all of you who have subscribed to Jag Mods. Your subscriptions, likes, and comments provide the motivation for me to continue producing these videos. You see, these are kind of a huge time suck, but hey, it's worth it. If I can help a fellow Jag owner, that's what it's all about. Anyway, enough of this. In this episode, we will be focusing on the Fulcrum, Wishbone, or whatever you want to call it, the thing it holds the wheels on. Anyway, we're going to go over installing the inner fulcrum bearings and races. We'll cover how the seals go together. We'll also be dealing with the fulcrum shaft brace shims because I painted mine and so the shims don't work right anymore. Anyway, we'll also be covering the arduous task of installing the wishbone or fulcrum, that thing that holds the wheels on. Alright, so you don't have a press and you don't want to really pound on bearings, so how do you get these in there? I'll show you. So what you do is you take a bolt. This is the old race, which this bolt fits very nicely through. And then you take these spacers from the old carrier, and then you put the washer or put the bearing in like that, and you run it through and just kind of hold it as tight as you can. So then you take a washer and the nut, and a wrench, and make sure it's tightening. It is. And then just try to make sure you get it on straight. Okay. Bearings in. Bearings in. Yeah, see, here's the, there's one of them. Okay. So I put it in so the race is actually just setting up against the one, but yet the race is still in the bearing. That way I'm less likely to put it in sideways. Okay, that one's in too, and they're in straight because the race goes in and out. So, handy little tip. Alright, let's get this together. Alright, so here are the seals, and they go on either side of this, so we don't need that, we don't need that. Got some lube. We are going to need this. Right here. Alright, these are our races, so I'm just going to take some grease and just kind of pack it in between the bearings. So we got lots of grease. Grease is your friend. Lube is always good. Nobody likes it dry. then I'm going to just kind of push it up into there. Make sure I got good coverage. Pocket right there. Now some of you may have noticed that I didn't actually pack the needle bearings, but I did it off of camera, so I'm just kind of filling in the crevices and making sure that I've got a good set of packing around the grease and just double checking myself. Sorry for interrupting myself, right? Yeah. Okay, let's carry on. Alright, so here are the seals. It's kind of a three-piece like the carriers. So you've got your center part, and this is actually rubber, and it's got a nice groove in it so it fits. Supposedly it's supposed to squish up against that, and then that fits in the middle. Yeah, I'm going to interrupt myself again. This washer goes on the outside of the seal ring while the other side gets mushed up against the wishbone or fulcrum arm or whatever you want to call it. But anyway, carry on. Like this. So once again, a little bit more lube. Hopefully I've got some still in my. All right, now for the other side. All right, so I mixed up the shims. And so I'm going to be making new shims for this, and so this is how we're going to go about doing it. So essentially we're going to put this in place with the dummy shaft like this. Hopefully, maybe get the bolt started. That might be a good place to start. And the long one, this one's longer, so it goes up here at the top somewhere. Put a little hair on it. There we go. So we'll put that bolt in and just loose. So our shaft can locate where we need to be on either side. And then this is. I'm going to interrupt myself to just point out the fact that this bolt has got a taper, and so does the inner fulcrum bracket, to kind of help locate it properly and will make it easier to shim. That's why it's important to get it finger tight, blah blah. Anyway, carry on. This is a short one. It goes down here. And then we'll just kind of run this through. Alright, so there's that like that. Just kind of snug these up finger tight. So we've got a little bit of tension on it. Yep, 7 will fit. How about 8? I'm going to interrupt myself again just to point out the fact that this is a real fiddly process, and I'm leaving some of this long part in that seems kind of boring, but it'll make sense towards the end. I'm going to start off at 2 because that looks kind of tight. Alright, there we go. Right, actually this is 1.5. And I can get 1.5 in there. It's about 2. Can I get 2 in there? So that was 1.5. This is 2.5 thousandths. It's in at the top. And at the bottom, man, I can get a lot in.
So that tells me this might be a little twisted.
What I didn't think about when I was doing this is the shims actually come in two sizes, 5/1000 and 7/1000. So that tells me that there's probably about a 2000 variance in how all this stuff fits together. What this also tells me is the inner fulcrum bolts and bracket aren't tight enough because the bolts aren't properly located in the taper.
Let's see if that made a difference. Yeah, see, I can get yep, 2 fits. And what I'm doing is I'm just kind of twisting on this. All right, so 2 fits. Let's try 5. See if 5 will fit. And yep, 5 fits. 6. So we can get 6 and 7 to get a room. There we go. Alright, so here's 6. And 6 doesn't fit. And so there's 8. And actually I can get if I twist it, I can get 8 in there. It's tight. It's really tight. I'm still going to go with 7 on that one. Alright, so this is 0.005. Okay, now let's get the shaft back out. And then I just went to the local hardware store and picked up some cold rolled 5/8 and then just ran it on the belt sander just to get it to final dimension. So we've got some shim stock, and it's, you can get this at Industrial Supply or Amazon. So this is 5/1000. And so I usually leave the written part last, so I know what it is. So just to minimize the amount of cutting I'm going to do, I'm going to start in the corner. And this is just a carbide tip, and then just outline it like this. Doesn't have to be perfect because I'm going to cut with a pair of scissors, and so it's not going to look this nice when I'm done. And I don't have a break there. Alright, so, and these are just like electrician scissors, and just cut, but it'll straighten out, especially after it's squished. Okay, so there's my 5. Now I've got a 7, and I'm debating, part of me, it's like, here's a 7. They won't match. I'm really wrestling with this. Alright, so let's just slip it in. Like that. Alright, so I'm just trying to grab a hold of that. Give that a tug. And kind of put these two together, except this time we're going to be coming in from the bottom. So we're going to line up right there. Like that. Slide the handle lock. Water eye protection. Because this stuff will whip around it and hit you in the face. And get tangled around your pliers. One more chance to do it, I think. Yep. So unlock those. Take this and curl it on itself so you don't have any sharp edges. Done.
Well, now we've got all the little bits and pieces stuck together. It's time to put this thing actually together. So by the time I figured out the first part of putting the Fulcrum arm didn't get recorded, it was already put together, and I love you guys, but sorry internet, I'm not going to put myself through that again. But anyway, I am going to cover how it all goes together. For starters, here's an exploded view of the Fulcrum assembly. These are the seal spacer thingies, and they go here. And these three-part seals go in between the Fulcrum arm and the seal washer thingy, here.
Alright, we are now putting the wishbone on. So I'm going to put a little bit of grease on this.
This being the Fulcrum seal spacer washer thingy. But hey, there's more video scrubs to come.
Also makes things slide together easier. I'm going to need all the help I can get with this. I can see that already. So, a little tappy tap tap. I can find the hammer. Damn it, this just makes me crazy for feeling so angry. I'm crazy for even wasting my time.
Alright, I'm going to put the brakes on right here, because I shouldn't be having to pound on this. For those who are more observant than I am, notice that I already have one side installed. It's also torqued, so I brought the sides of the cage in, so it's a tight fit. Note to self, don't tighten all the nuts until you're all done. Oh, and here's another note to self. Don't put the camera on whenever you're pounding on. Well, I finally got it. You think I loosened the other side? Of course not. That would be too easy. Anyway, with a little bit more percussionary persuasion, we'll be running the shaft through.
Okay, alright, so we are right here, so we are making progress. So now, we install the distancing tube. Oh, you probably missed all of that because, you know, me beating on it. Alright, so we've got the two sides, the two washers in, or retaining rings, or whatever the hell they're called. The shaft here is right up against that, so I'm going to actually reposition the camera a little bit so you can see a little bit better. Probably got way too much grease in there. Alright, so get driving this tube through, and it is in place. So I made this shaft, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line this side up, so I'll use the Fulcrum or the wishbone shaft that attaches to this to kind of just drive it out. There's that one. Lined up.
Well, I'm going to spare the agony because I faffed around for a good 10 minutes trying to get that to line up. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start from the other side. Other side meaning the inside of the fulcrum between the fulcrum bracket and the fulcrum arc. Alright, so here we go. Just kind of wiggle that into place. A little tappy tap tap. Well, now I've got a huge mess on my hands because the 3-part seal has come apart and is just kind of dangling, and so now I'm trying to fish it all back together before I put that spacer back in. Alright, let's just kind of push this in. A bit of an obstruction. Alright, let's try this one more time with feeling. There we are. So there you have it. Finally got it. Everything's fastened down. Everything's in its place. Everything's tied down, lock wired. And yes, I did put all brass shims in because it really bothered me. And next will be the half shaft on the other side and the carrier. We're getting close. And I think this is probably the longest IRS build in history. And then we'll do the brake lines next. So, what did I learn from all of this? A, don't tighten the nuts. It pulls the case together, and makes it impossible to get these in place. And the other thing I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna make a pointy bit that screws on here, so it'll be like a spear, so it'll help align all of this stuff. So I'll just push it through, and then everything should just kind of fall into place. And yeah, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed these videos, please subscribe. This isn't my full-time job, and so it was just taking me a whole lot of time to, well, actually, work has just been crazy busy, and so I just haven't had a chance to get out here. But that'll change, and yeah, I'll get these videos out a little bit more quickly. And I just want to thank you for your patience, and please, if you have any comments below, leave them. If you're a troll, don't. And yeah, thanks for watching. watching.